WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Bloomington, home to the Indiana Hoosiers and over 200,000 acres of fall foliage in the Hoosier National Forest. Enjoy in-seasonal flavors at local restaurants, experience views atop 4 fire towers, or catch a Big Ten football game at Memorial Stadium. Plan your fall getaway at visitbloomington.com.
WFYI podcasts are brought to you by the Women's Fund of Central Indiana. Hosting author and podcast host Glennon Doyle at its annual Power of Women event on Thursday, November 6th. Tickets to hear from and meet Glennon are at womensfund.org. This is Small Studio Signal Boost from WFYI. I'm Melissa Davis, your host tonight, along with co-host Adam Gross. As we wrap up our celebration of 10 years of small studio sessions, we'll listen to a performance from Indianapolis-based rock band Wishy. The band continues to gain both national and international acclaim, and this 2024 session is a great representation of their talents. Blues House Party host Matthew Sosi stops by to share music from the late jazz violinist Johnny Frigo. He was a regular at the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering, and tonight we'll listen to tracks recorded at the festival from his album Summer Me. Stay with us for an hour of new music from Indiana-based artists here on Small Studio Signal Boost. First, let's listen to a song from Indianapolis-based artist and musician Kindle. She's a small studio alum and recorded her session as American back in 2020, right after her graduation from Ball State University. Kindle has a new song out called Affirmations. Let's listen here on Small Studio Signal Boost.
I've been hurting, but with purpose. I've been working on myself. I've been looking in the mirror like queen ain't nobody else. Better than you, hotter than you, better than you, hotter than you, better than you, hotter than you. Girl, you top 2, and you not 2. I've been hurting.
That was Kindle with Affirmations, a new single with an official video from Kindle on all the socials. You're listening to Small Studio Signal Boost from WFYI. I'm Melissa Davis with Adam Gross. Coming up, we'll hear a small studio sessions performance from Indianapolis rock band Wishy. But first, Adam, what's happening in the world of Indiana music this week?
I have another song that just had a music video released for it.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, it's like a 80s workout themed music video.
That sounds
like
fun.
Buns of Steel style. This is Indiana artist Kenna Lauren featuring Robin Raps with To Make It Mine Again.
Isn't this what you wanted? Took everything you had and now you finally got it. My heart's in stitches, I'm looking ridiculous 'cause I got addicted to you. 'Cause we can change it and it's contagious.
That was Indianapolis's Kenna Lauren here on Small Studio Signal Boost. Up next, I have one from Rebecca Raffla. This is the debut single from her upcoming album Fundamentally Unfinished. Here's Rebecca Raffla with A Day and Then Forever.
That a day can last forever, forever in my heart. And I know that the moments, they all seem to fade.
You are tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost. You can find some of the music featured tonight by following our playlists. Just search for WFYI Music on Spotify. Tonight, we'll wrap up our celebrations of 10 years of small studio sessions with a listen back to a 2024 session from an Indianapolis-based rock band that has gone national and even international. Adam, this session was recorded by Wishy.
That's exactly right. Yeah, what a great band.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say that about everybody, but we really only book great bands.
We really love
10
our
years
music,
of great
too.
bands. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wishy's doing great. I mean, this year they toured internationally. They've toured nationally a bunch. They've been releasing music like nonstop. A really great band to keep an eye out for as they continue to grow. And our colleague, Kyle Long, was at this session, and afterwards he talked to the band, and we have a little excerpt of that to play tonight.
I'm Mitch Collins. I play bass guitar.
My name is Connor Host. I play the drums.
Dimitri Morris, and I play guitar as well.
Nina Pitchkaitis, and I play guitar and sing.
I'm Kevin Crowder, and I play guitar and sing as well.
Thank you all for being here today. Even before the session started, I was overwhelmed by the guitar sound. It was like a choir of harmonizing voices. And I'm curious how much time you spend working out those arrangements. Is that a big part of the composition process?
Yeah, I'm definitely pretty anal about the guitar parts and the tones and stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm not that bad. No, we definitely pay attention to it. Having 3 guitars, it's really easy for stuff to be a little too noisy, so we try to do our best to like hone it in as much as possible.
And Kevin's a music teacher, so I think he knows how to like delegate parts really well, which is honestly awesome. Like he just knows exactly, how to teach somebody a part, and that's great for me personally. So,
Dimitri, any thoughts on that, working out those guitar sounds?
I think we've gotten to a really good point of not only feeling super comfortable with each other's tone and like how to fill that space, but being able to kind of curate it to each space in a way that has allowed us to really feel really comfortable in like how we present the songs. So from like a composition standpoint, I think it was always something that was thought of, and I think we've kind of at this point been grinding long enough where everything's kind of come together in different avenues, volume wise, like harmoniously, as well as just like performance wise.
Individually, I know you've all been in a lot of different bands. I won't make you sit here and listen to me read the list. But Kevin, I did want to ask about your early experiences in music. I saw a photo recently. I think you were like 8 years old. You were in a production of Roger and Hammerstein's The King and I. Does any of that sound familiar?
Yo.
I know.
I feel like I'm on Nardwuar right now. That's crazy. I
Musical theater was a big part of your youth, right? Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, my first experience on stage was, you could say slightly problematic, being in The King and I. But it was fun. I was in it with my siblings and my family. And me and all my siblings at a young age did a lot of community theater. And a lot of my siblings went on to do it. I kind of, phased out of that around middle school age. But being on stage and like singing all the time definitely was like really huge for me. And yeah, I don't know. I was just surrounded by that my whole life. Kind of got sick of it pretty hard. But there's still some musical theater that I really love. You
released your debut EP as Wishy late last year. Mm-hmm. It seemed like that project almost immediately started getting rave reviews from major media outlets, The Guardian, Pitchfork. Did it surprise you how quickly the music circulated and how quickly people kind of latched onto it so passionately?
No surprise.
Well, I'm not surprised. Well, I don't know.
It was very surprising. It was very unexpected.
It's all new to me, man.
You just never expect people to catch on, because we were just...
I mean, we were all super excited about it.
Yeah.
And very proud of it. But yeah, as far as like catching on so quickly, that was really something special.
Awesome.
I think it's definitely felt like a relatively organic, build in terms of like how we've put ourselves together and how we've presented ourselves. It's definitely not felt like we've, made a hard plan in terms of like trying to, this is going to be our rollout and how we see our interaction with different labels as well as different publications. It's felt very non-forced. And
yeah.
I don't know what's going. It's crazy. It's insane. I don't know what's going on every day. Every day somebody texts us something. I'm like,
that's awesome.
I fell out of my bed once.
I have a theory that it's because we're a real Midwest band. And because of things like Parks and Rec and Stranger Things, Indiana is now this
it's got a little bit
it's a very Midwest darling kind of place. Yeah. So yeah, people definitely see us as that kind of indie, kind of Midwest kind of niche.
We are an indie. Degree.
Thank you all for taking time to be here. I know you had a big show last night with Guided by Voices. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're prepping for this tour, so thank you for making time to be here. Appreciate it, everybody.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Final thoughts, anyone, before we go?
This was my favorite in-studio session we've ever played, and maybe will ever play.
It was incredible. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Cultural Manifesto host Kyle Long talking with Wishy after their small studio session. You can find that full interview on the Cultural Manifesto podcast. Most places you get your podcasts are at WFYI.org. And we'll hear from Kyle a little bit later in the show. It's a really collaborative show this week.
Very good.
But for now, let's hear some of Wishy's small studio session here on Small Studio Signal Boost.
Woke up again with your name in my mouth. Drive myself sick not to let it fall out. 'Cause you say a word and I'll fall at your feet. Does this mean the world to me? Clock out and face it tonight on my own. Left with the fantasy haunting my phone. But once in a while I just smile at that and shake up the chains on my back.
Thank you, listeners, people watching.
Starting to feel like it's not just me.
Thanks, Wishy, for recording that small studio session. Coming up, Matthew Sosi shares music from jazz violinist Johnny Frigo, recorded at the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering. We'll be right back with that after this break here on Small Studio Signal Boost.
WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Bloomington, home to the Indiana Hoosiers and over 200,000 acres of fall foliage in the Hoosier National Forest. Enjoy in-seasonal flavors at local restaurants, experience views atop 4 fire towers, or catch a Big Ten football game at Memorial Stadium. Plan your fall getaway at visitbloomington.com.
This is Small Studio Signal Boost. Thanks for listening tonight. You can find the podcast edition of the show most places you get your podcasts or at wfyi.org/podcasts. I'm Melissa Davis, joined by Adam Gross. Blues House Party host Matthew Sosi has music tonight from the late jazz violinist Johnny Frigo, recorded at the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering.
You're listening to Small Studio Signal Boost. I'm Matthew Sosi. The Indiana Fiddlers Gathering started out in 1972 with a small number of musicians, friends, and audience members. It has since become a 3-day celebration of traditional music from all corners of the globe and from all walks of life. One of the festival's biggest supporters and participants was Chicago jazz violinist Johnny Frigo, a man whose musical career goes all the way back to the 1940s, up to his death in 2007 at the age of 90. Besides being a band leader, Johnny played with the likes of Ray Brown, Herb Ellis, Anita O'Day, Jimmy Dorsey, Kurt Elling, and, yes, even Chico Marx's orchestra. That's right, the Marx brother had an orchestra. Johnny Frigo performed at the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering on several occasions. I recently found a physical copy, that's right, a compact disc, of Johnny's album Summer Me, live at Battleground, released by the IFG in 2008. 15 songs recorded during 4 of Frigo's performances from the 1980s and 1990s. Here's Johnny Frigo and his version of Duke Ellington's In a Sentimental Mood. Recorded live from the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering in Battleground, Indiana, that was Chicago jazz violinist Johnny Frigo and his cover of Duke Ellington's In a Sentimental Mood. Frigo died in 2007 at the age of 90, but his music and his impact on the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering lives on. For Small Studio Signal Boost, I'm Matthew Sosi.
Thanks, Matt, for that story on Johnny Frigo and the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering. You know, Melissa, as I was listening to this piece Matt gave us, I remembered that Kyle just went to this year's Indiana Fiddlers Gathering.
Very cool.
Yeah, and he did a whole show about it for Cultural Manifesto.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's lovely. I really recommend everyone check that out wherever you get your podcasts. But then Kyle had even another show, as Kyle does because he's so thorough, with the former festival organizer and MC Dave Samuelson, who, guess what, produced this Johnny Frigo CD that we were just listening to. I know.
What is happening?
I know, it's wild.
That's awesome.
So he was kind enough to share a clip with us. So let's hear a clip of that now.
Is there a final track you would want to leave us with today?
Yeah, let's play something from Johnny Frigo. Johnny Frigo was one of the pioneering musicians with the National Barn Dance, played with them from the 40s and 50s. Made his living as a jazz bassist and a session musician. We brought him to the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering in 1984, and he brought a band that was more appropriate for a county fair than the Fiddlers Gathering. So he got a jazz mandolinist and protege of Jethro Burns, Don Sternberg. Again, pull a band together and we'll back up Johnny Frigo. So he came to the Fiddlers Gathering, and after Johnny died, we went through the tapes and we pulled together what we thought was going to be a pretty decent album of Johnny Frigo live at the Indiana Fiddlers Gathering. Did the disc sell? No, it was on the cusp of the downfall of CDs. Also, it was a jazz album, so the bluegrass fans didn't want it. the bluegrass fans, yeah, this is jazz. No, it's not for me. When you try to do a hybrid type of music, yeah, it's sort of hard to find, that medium where people are going to be excited. But anyway, let's play a track from this album. Let's play the old Hammerstein Kern classic, The Song Is You.
Thanks, Kyle and Matt, for sharing that music, and just a friendly reminder to tune in to Blues House Party and Cultural Manifesto every week. You'll always hear something new and amazing.
And maybe something blue.
Oh, yeah. Nice. This is Small Studio Signal Boost from WFYI. I'm Melissa Davis, here with co-host Adam Gross. What's happening in the world of live music?
Well, Indianapolis jazz vocalist Rebecca Raffala, whose new single we heard earlier in the show, is having a release show for her debut album, Fundamentally Unfinished, at the Jazz Kitchen Friday, October 24th. Her band will be made up of a bunch of indie jazz greats and some small studio alums, Rob Dixon, Steve Ali, Kenny Phelps, and more. They're performing 2 sets that night at 7 and 9:30. Again, that's Rebecca Raffala at the Jazz Kitchen Friday, October 24th.
Musical Family Tree has a local music showcase coming up on Saturday, November 8th. Kindle goes on at 6 p.m. at the 808. That's a brand new venue from Indie CD and Vinyl, right next to Indie CD and Vinyl. The show features Jade Davidson, Watercourses, Josh Gillespie Band, and Wampus Milk Daddies. And this is one of the first shows at the 808 by Indie CD and Vinyl in Broad Ripple. And this month, the Palace will play a Halloween-themed show at Turntable in Broad Ripple on Thursday, October 30th. And there's a Halloween-themed celebration with Jennison of Manners Please in honor of Kat at the Melody Inn on Friday, October 24th with He Halloween. That's also...
He Halloween.
I hope
That's
I said
so
it right.
good.
I hope I said it right.
I think there's only one way.
Right. That's also a benefit for the Stay Strange Scholarship for Girls Rock Indie in honor of Katrina Bolliard. Again, Melody Inn, Friday, October 24th. That's the latest in Indiana music. Be sure to follow your favorite artists on social media for updates and info. This is Small Studio Signal Boost. Adam Gross and Roxana Caldwell created our show. This episode was produced by Adam Gross and me, Melissa Davis. You can check out the podcast edition of the show most places you get your podcasts or at WFYI.org. Thanks for listening tonight, and thanks for your continued support of public media. You can join in membership anytime at WFYI.org/give or at WBAA.org/give. And we are at our last song of the night. Adam, what do we have?
This is Alex McGrath with The Roads We Travel. Have a great night.
WFYI podcasts are brought to you by the Women's Fund of Central Indiana. Hosting author and podcast host Glennon Doyle at its annual Power of Women event on Thursday, November 6th. Tickets to hear from and meet Glennon are at womensfund.org.